And young and powerful for Obama. She is young and powerful. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I will take a little bit of personal privilege to give a couple of thank yous. First to Jarvis Houston for putting on this wonderful event. Not just the event, but the idea to do this Young and Powerful for Obama, you and so many others across the country. So thank you, Jarvis, for having me here today. And I also want to recognize and thank Congressman Davis from the great city of Chicago for all of his leadership. I want to also thank these wonderful people over here at this other restaurant who probably had no clue that they were going to a Young and Powerful for Obama event. You need to know the accomplishments of President Obama, because you will more than likely face people who will ask you day in and day out, is my life better under President Obama? And as those who have committed your time, not only this president, but all the volunteers who are working on behalf of empowering our communities, it's important for you to know these accomplishments. So if I have only a couple of asks today, it'll be one. Know at least 3 accomplishments of our president. There are so many. We're going to pass around some pocket accomplishment cards. They talk about accomplishments specifically for African Americans. But it's important that you know and share these facts with your family and your friends. Number 2, if every single person who you spend your days with, your evenings with, if they're not registered to vote, register them. More than likely, there are many people in our immediate circles who are not registered to vote, who are not prepared to vote. They may not have the ID they need to vote. So I encourage you to find out who is in your immediate circle to get them engaged. Number 3, those people who will no longer have tax cuts. You know, 18.5 million African Americans receive tax cuts under our president, putting $800 back in their pockets. That would no longer exist under our president if we have the Mitt Romney in office. So what I'm asking for you to do is to both spend your time, spend your energy, but talk to as many people as possible to get them fired up, because we have how many days until Election Day? I can't hear you. I can't hear you. 62 days until Election Day. I'm sure y'all know the countdown for Howard Homecoming. I know
These are the young and powerful, 6 powerful people from Charlotte, North Carolina, and 2 national powerful stars, national trailblazers. So without any further delay, let us go now down the list. I used to work with this young lady personally, and she is definitely somebody that has always been a rising star. She's a go-getter, and is going to the executive director of Girl Talk Foundation, Miss Janine Davis. Give it up for Janine.
Okay, well, thank you all so much. I am honored. I had no idea. This is big, this is fabulous. And then to be sitting with these young folk and making change. And so I've always understood, even being at Power 98, the power of what I do. And it's all about enriching, empowering, and evoking change. And so I look at myself as that kind of a person, especially when I deal with young girls. Now, they're not old enough to vote yet. However, there's no reason why we can't plant those seeds right now in these girls' lives early on, between the ages of 11 and 16. That's who I work with. And so I really want to take this to them on this Saturday when we meet and say, it's about making a change. Get out and do something worthwhile. So thank you all so much. Appreciate that.
Writer, he's an editor and blogger. I want y'all to give it up for Mr. Jarvis Holiday. Jarvis Holiday.
Good evening. I'm happy to be here. It's an honor and a privilege to be receiving this award. It's always great to be recognized for anything we do in this community. And if you're doing anything positive, anything to evoke change, you know it's not about the recognition, but it's about the results and the change you're trying to make. I am a freelance journalist. I've spent the last 10 years of my career telling people stories, whether it's a young person trying to make a difference or an old person telling stories of how they made a difference. And one thing we gotta all keep in mind is that I like to say if we each do a little, we can all do a lot. And so I know a lot of people out here today, many people here often send me press releases, information about their events, their causes, and their programs. And it's always important for me, if I can, to help tell their story and lend their voice to the community. Because far too often in media and news and journalism, we focus on the negative when there are so many people here doing positive things. Of course, this is Democratic National Convention week. Why I was making such a timely entrance is because as a journalist, we've been running all over the place, covering stories and everything. To tell you a brief story, yesterday I was at an event that Facebook had. Facebook had an event yesterday, and their vice president of communications was explaining all the different things that Facebook is doing for this election. And he said there are now more Americans on Facebook than there are Americans who are registered to vote. And so that's something that we have to change. And for those of us who are posting messages and statuses on Facebook, tweeting, Instagramming photos, if you can take time to show people your large cup of Starbucks or your new heels or those fresh J's, you can take time, opportunity to remind them to register to vote and let them know when the election is. So I thank you all for this opportunity.
Thank you, Jarvis. Obama, YP, the number 4, Obama, and here. Okay, let's move on. In Media Arts Collective, he takes pictures. If you found yourself on a magazine website and you said, man, how did I get here? This is the man that did it. Let's give it up for Mr. John Strayhorn. John Strayhorn.
I am not used to being in this position. I'm usually in her position right there. But I'm honored to get this award, and it is a very good honor to be in Mr. Jarvis, Rod, JD, Keith, these guys I've worked with over the years, been involved with their organizations, things like that. Where is Jamaica? I see Jamaica out there. Rodman Khan, these are the people that has helped me get me to where I am today. And thank you, appreciate it.
Inmate program over at Mecklenburg County Sheriff's Office. He's the manager there, and I hope you went over there just to meet him, just to say hello, and he never had to really deal with you in any other way. But if you did, he would deal with you fairly and just because he's a wonderful person that we have inside of the jail. So let's give it up, one of our Charlotte Rising Stars, young and powerful for Obama, Mr. Keith Cradle. Keith Cradle.
I appreciate this. One of the things that we try to do with the Sheriff's Office is make sure we rehabilitate and get folk re-entered back into society. So my job the last 4 years, before that with the Health Department for 8 years, working with re-entry, working with young adults and youth to make sure that we put them back on the streets, we give them what they need. So again, I'll leave you with a quick quote. It's easy to make $1. It's a lot harder to make a difference. So again, for everybody that's already here, they're already doing exactly what we all been doing for years. And it's just, you appreciate the awards, you appreciate the time. Again, get involved, register to vote. If you haven't done those things, please find someone. It is all right to get involved now. Do what you got to do. Again, these things are very important to change our community. So thank you to my friends, my family, all those communities that I served over the last 18 years. I appreciate it.
University, she's a manager at Wells Fargo. Let's give it up for Okita Brown. Okita Brown, one of our Charlotte Rising Stars.
He said you got 1 minute. I'm not a big talker. I just want to say I recently had the pleasure and the honor of addressing the National Urban League CEO affiliate CEOs. And I was speaking to them about the power of the young professional. So this for me today is very befitting because we have a great deal of power if we just harness it. And I think all of my colleagues and everyone that spoke earlier said to you, and I hope they conveyed it, and I hope you feel that message that we have work to do. I won't say much more, but it is my hope that we're all going to get in line and get it done. Fair enough? Yeah. All right.
Thank you, kid. All right, hey, let's give it up. This is DJ06. He's one of the top DJs in Charlotte. I'll give it up for DJ06. You want to see why? This is one. To the back to the Time Warner Cable. They've informed me that right here, and you can stay here all night for the Charlotte Chamber of Commerce. He is Mr. Rod Garvin. Rod Garvin.
Good evening, everyone. Let me say thank you to Young and Powerful for Obama. Definitely have to give thanks to God who gives me the gifts and the determination to try and make a difference. One thing about being a rising star, if that's the term. You know, it feels weird to even say that. I have my distinguished colleagues here. There's so many others in this community, including those of you who are here, who are making a difference each and every day. So it's humbling for us to even be singled out in that way. There's so many people here doing great things, making a difference. It's just an honor to be here. Let me briefly say, and I think a lot of you will relate to this, I was definitely inspired by the First Lady's speech last night. She said a lot of things that resonated with me. Just one thing she said I'd like to highlight. She talked about how the issues that the president cares about are not political, they're personal. And when I think about my own life and how my politics has evolved, it's really more about experience, not only what I go through, but what other people go through. It's not really theoretical. I experienced a long-term unemployment situation. So I was thankful to have a president who advocated for the extension of unemployment benefits. I have a father who has spent almost his whole career with General Motors. And he'll personally tell you that if there was not an auto rescue, he would probably be out of a job. And a million more people would be out of a job. That's the difference between the two parties. We don't have a perfect political system and we don't have a perfect president, but we do have choices. And one path is better than the other. Like many of you, I'm disappointed that I'm not going to have a chance to see the president speak at Bank of America Stadium, but I'm not too disappointed to keep that from letting me vote. We can't be too disappointed not to vote. It's up to us. We make our democracy, so let's get involved and make a difference. Thank you.
At YP, the number 4, Obama, and of course on the hashtag, it is victory, hashtag 2012. Now let's go to our national trailblazers. We have with us today the Deputy Finance Director of Gen 44. Let's give it up for Laura Whitaker. Laura Whitaker.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Laura Whitaker, and I'm the Deputy National Finance Director of Gen 44. That's the official Young Professionals Finance Program for the Obama Campaign 2012, and I'm very, very proud to be here today. So many of the young professional raisers that I work with are here, but before I recognize anyone, I have to recognize Young and Powerful for Obama. Say a big round of applause for Jarvis and Young and Powerful for Obama. This group, I can't say enough about them. They've been throwing amazing events all year on their own. This campaign is so much more than the sum of the people that are a part of it. It's about all of you. It really is about people that are dedicated to the main tenets of this campaign that are going to move us forward to victory. The first thing you have to think about is finance. This campaign needs a lot of money to battle the other side. That is their only purpose is to take Obama down and repeal everything that we've accomplished and move us backward. I don't know how many people were at Time Warner last night or watched on TV, but we can't afford to go back. We must move forward, not back. And that's the message of this campaign. Everyone here is a stakeholder in making sure that we do move forward. And everyone here that donated to this campaign, your contribution is meaningful, and I want you to know that. The other part of the campaign that's very important is field. So there's finance, there's field, and then there is the opportunity to get out and protect the vote on election day. You have the opportunity here at the campaign with Young and Powerful to be a part of this movement. You can volunteer. You can go to dashboard on www.barackobama.com and sign up to volunteer in your neighborhoods. You can make calls at home. You can join a neighborhood team and knock on doors. North Carolina is a battleground state, and right now, our campaign is down. We really need everyone to tell a neighbor, tell a friend, make sure we're all registered to vote, and get out and make sure that we're able to get people to the polls on election day. The third thing that's important for this campaign is making sure that we protect the vote. As you know, there are movements afoot to make sure that there are people, they do not want you to vote. They do not want people to look like many of us to vote. And you have to be able to take your time and make sure that that does not occur. So, finance, you can help with your treasures. Field, you can help with your service. And protection, you can help with voter protection. And the main way you can help with voter protection is go to gottavote.com. It's that simple. Gottavote.com will help you locate your polling place, let you know where to register to vote, and lay out the campaign's entire initiative to make sure our vote is protected. I'm not going to speak too long, but I'd love for you guys to get involved in those 3 ways, and I thank you for what you've done thus far. Thanks so much.
Laura Whitaker, everybody. We're going to have a projection screen. We're setting that up right now. That's what we're going to be showing the watch party here at Dressler's Restaurant. This is a beautiful restaurant. Let's give them a hand for letting the DNC Young and Powerful have this great event here. Event the Young and Powerful.
Good evening, everybody. My name is actually Crystal Leapart, and Angela couldn't be with us tonight because her boss is speaking on the floor later. But what I did want to say is on behalf of Impact, we just want to say thank you for this honor. She's really grateful for this award, and we kind of want to talk more about the campaign that Impact is doing. Right now, we launched a campaign called Vote Ready, and it's just 3 simple points to this campaign to kind of counteract the voter disenfranchisement that's been going on in our nation. Are you registered to vote? Do you have what you need to register to vote? And where's your voting location? So to get more active in that campaign, please refer to impact-dc.com. And we are a Twitter-friendly organization, so please follow us on Twitter at Team Impact. Impact is in all caps. And we have Super Tuesday, Vote Ready campaign, so please participate in those campaigns. And thank you guys again so much for the honor.
Thank you so much for accepting that.
Young and powerful. Hello. Hello, young and powerful. Hello. Come on, y'all can do better than that. You got to raise it up a level. Hello, young and powerful. Hello. All right. I tell you, I'm truly honored, and I have the privilege of introducing the speaker for the hour. Not for the hour, but for a few minutes. Let me give it up for Jarvis Houston. I mean, he's from Chicago. Y'all give it up for him. He's got a great vision, and he's a great leader. This person who I'm introducing tonight, he's one of 435 members of Congress. I thought about whether or not I should tell you about he's from the state of Arkansas, the only state that's mentioned in the Bible. Noah looked over the Arkansas. But then I said, I won't tell you about that. I thought about whether or not I should tell you about the PhD that he has and a number of other honorary doctorate degrees, but I said I won't bore you with those details. I want to share with you this story of this man who had fallen into a hole. This man had fallen into a hole, and he desperately desired to get out of that hole. Necessary tools so that they won't go back to prison. Put those hands together for a friend like no other than the Honorable Congressman Danny K. Davis from Illinois. Congressman Davis.
Well, thank you very much, Richard, and thank all of you. As a matter of fact, when the preacher was getting ready to pray, and he said, "Give me a minute," I thought of one of my favorite expressions, that is, life is but a minute. Just 60 seconds in it. Forced upon us. We didn't seek it, and we didn't choose it. As a matter of fact, we couldn't even refuse it. But I discovered that we suffer if we abuse it. Just a tiny minute, but eternity is in it. But let me tell you, first of all, that I'm going to tell you just like Elizabeth Taylor told her 6th husband. I ain't going to keep you long. But I am delighted to be here with all of you, the young, the powerful, the visionaries, the individuals who understand that all of us have a role to play in the further development of our nation. And while all of us are thinking about the re-election of Barack Obama, and people are talking about voting for Barack, let me tell you, I generally don't vote for anybody except myself. I'm saying if Barack becomes the recipient of my vote, I understand enough to know that I'm not voting for Barack. I'm voting for Danny Davis. I'm voting for Stacy and Lil Stacy. I'm voting for my grandchildren. I'm voting for all of those things that I believe in. And Barack just becomes the recipient of what I believe. Let me tell you that those of you who live in the Carolinas, you are fortunate because you have 3 African Americans representing these areas who are 3 of the most astute elected officials and politicians in the nation. G.K. Butterfield, who used to be a judge, instead of being a judge, G.K. should have always been a politician. Mel Watt, who is simply super outstanding and is a former chairman of the Congressional Black Caucus. And then from South Carolina, Jim Clyburn, who's an assistant minority leader. We want to change that so that Jim becomes an assistant majority leader. But there is so much that we don't know about history. I'll bet not many people in the room know that Jim Clyburn's great-grand-uncle was a member of Congress. Jim Clyburn's great-uncle, during the period of Reconstruction, when we almost had 20 black members of Congress, all who got ran out after the period of Reconstruction. In 1876, when they cut a deal about who was going to be president, the whole development of African Americans changed. My point is, I'm recording video. You can make gains, but then you can get set back. I've always been amazed at how much progress black people made after the Civil War and during the Reconstruction period, when our ancestors who had just come out of slavery built colleges and universities, were mayors and constables and sheriffs. We even had a black cat who was the governor of Louisiana during that period. And so you can gain something. We even had 2 black guys who were United States senators in Mississippi. And so if you think we can't go backwards, just let these guys on the other side get elected. I want to commend the brother who works with ex-offenders. The creation of an issue where there is no issue. I don't believe in being harsh, and I'm not all that partisan. But I can tell you that Barack Obama, when Barack ran for the Senate, I was the person who presented him to the press. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me give you the next senator from the state of Illinois, the Honorable Barack Obama. There is no politician in America that has ever had this kind of magical and historic climb from being a state senator that virtually nobody had ever heard of to becoming, in a short period of time, the president of the most powerful, the most potent, the most progressive, and the wealthiest nation on the face of the earth. There are people who don't like that. They don't like it. And so they want to turn the clock back. We have a responsibility. There is nothing that keeps us from registering those individuals to vote in North Carolina who are not registered. And one of the things that I often say to African American professionals, let me tell you, I go a thing. In the wintertime, we have elections. I put on my overcoat and my hip boots and get out there in that snow in Chicago and knock on doors and get people registered. You can do the same thing. The weather is young and energetic and powerful. I'm 70 years old. I'll be out there knocking on doors, let me tell you, like Johnny going north. But it's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to congratulate all of these stars who have already risen. But I can tell you one thing. Anybody, my mama used to tell us to get
For young women. That's right. I think y'all gonna get me. I don't think I was gonna leave y'all out. These powerful young women, because see, this is so beautiful, because when you're a young and powerful person, you're chosen to do this. This is an honor, right? To be a servant, not for vanity, but an honor to serve people in a way that other people don't serve. So without any further delay, look how beautiful that is. Man, that's a powerful picture right there. Let's give it up for them, y'all.
How you guys doing? You doing all right? Come on. You guys doing all right? Yeah. You having a good time? Yeah. Well, first of all, we want to thank you. This event, we're going to get to everyone, but you heard a lot about YNP and the Young and Powerful people, who is one of the founders of this Young and Powerful group. You know, and I have to take time out to recognize him and pass him the mic. He may pass the mic right back to me, and that's all right. But I have to give him, you know, some honor and recognition. So if you can please give your best round of applause for Mr. Jarvis Houston.
I'm gonna speak real briefly. I'm gonna briefly talk about why we started Young and Powerful. It was a cold winter day in Chicago in 2007 in Springfield, Illinois, when me and a couple of friends went to see President Obama. Senator Obama announced he was running for president. And we looked at each other and said, we need to do something. Back then in 2007, I was a club promoter, free before he left. And I said, and I told, me and my friends were talking and said, we need to do something positive instead of getting people to clubs. We have a large email list, national email list. We did our first event in Chicago before the Chia Pet, before the T-shirt, before anybody thought he was going to win. I saw change, I saw a future, I saw someone that could put our country forward, and I saw myself as a young black man that could help our president. So I didn't ask questions, make excuses on why I couldn't do it. I got my friends together and said, let's do it. So before we knew it, we had our first fundraiser in DC, raised $10,000 without even trying. Our next event was in Chicago. Before we knew it, we were doing events in Atlanta, LA, Michigan, all over the country. And we stopped just being a couple of guys that's putting together events. We became a movement about educating people about Obama. We raised a lot of money, but more importantly, we got people to be engaged to volunteer for the campaign. It's very, very important to volunteer, especially in the state to move this country forward by any means necessary. And it's going to take all of us. No one wants to wake up on November 7th with regret. Yes. We want to wake up on November 7th saying, I did everything in my power to get President Obama re-elected. And I feel good. So let's keep that energy up. And I'm going to talk a brief story.
I wanted to acknowledge Renee Wilson was very instrumental in making sure that this event could happen. And actually, if we could get all of the guests or members of the board from NARAB to stand or wave their hands, I'd really appreciate that, just so you all can see who really contributed to make sure that this event could happen tonight. NARAB has been very, very supportive of the Victory in Charlotte event and would like to do other events with us in the future. So we hope to see many of you in whatever cities that you've come from at those events, getting involved in grassroots efforts, getting involved in events like this, and we'd like to see each of you as rising stars in the future. So thank you so much for coming in.